Overwatch has one big problem right now, something I've addressed a while ago, but now it's getting so bad that players are actually quitting the game. A lot of pro players, namely, are just done and fed up with Overwatch and are leaving the scene to play other games. It's that bad, and it's starting to affect you and me as well. So we're going to talk about what it is and what can be done about it. The big problem that a lot of people are naming is that Blizzard balances and adds new heroes at an excruciatingly slow rate. If something is busted, it's going to be busted for like a few solid months at least. And if a hero is useless, you can forget about them ever being useful in the near future. Just stop playing them. You can relearn them when they come back into the meta. Why is this actually a problem? Well, the most obvious reason is that the game gets very stale and boring. And for the casual player, that's not too bad. Some people only play a little bit of Overwatch and they don't get bored of it. And that's totally great. That's totally cool. There's nothing wrong with that. But for the pro player and the competitive player, it gets really old really quick. And even if you're a casual player or a competitive player that does not care about the pro scene at all, it affects you. It actually does. Esports like Overwatch, or games that aspire to last a very long time and be competitive in nature, need esports to survive. Overwatch will not survive as a casual game. It won't. And if heroes are added at this rate that we're getting right now, that means the esports scene is gonna die, and therefore the game as well, in a way. If you think I'm just complaining for views or over-exaggerating, I can link you to a lot of posts about players that are just fed up. A lot of tweets have been made actually recently, one by Taimu, a very popular pro player, that has been deleted, so I will not bring it back up. He doesn't want it known. But the tweet was basically saying that Overwatch is horribly balanced too slow, we don't get new heroes, and he is literally about to look for a new game to play. As soon as, like, he was mentioning some game that was going to come out, and he said he's going to move to that as soon as it does, because the balanced team, he's confident, is better than Overwatch. And he's not the only one. I mean, there's been a lot of players, there's a lot of pro players and coaches even, just organizations that say this Overwatch esports thing is not going to work in its current state, which sucks because they've got Overwatch League and they've got Overwatch Contenders. They've got the framework for the esport, but the game itself seems to be lacking. Blizzard has stated that they don't want to balance too fast or add too many heroes to the game at once because literally just one hero that's not balanced well can ruin the entire game if they're too powerful. That statement doesn't really seem to hold up when you look at things, right? For one, lots of heroes have been busted for a very long time without being nerfed. One example is D.Va. D.Va's been very powerful for very long. She hasn't fallen out of the meta in like months. Seriously, months. So saying balancing too fast would cause this is ridiculous. Balancing faster would actually fix this problem. And secondly, let's assume you do make a hero that's truly out of whack, truly horribly balanced. If we had enough heroes in the game, these organizations, these pro scenes, could ban the heroes that they don't deem fair, and they would do that. The problem is, we don't have enough heroes in the game to say, ban D.Va, she's too powerful. It just won't happen, because if you ban D.Va, you're taking out a significant portion of the game because we don't have a lot of heroes. If we had more heroes, this wouldn't be as much of a problem. Not to mention, as you add more heroes to the game naturally becomes more balanced if the team does their job right. When there's so many heroes in the game that there's a counter to everything, you can simply counter what's OP and hopefully successfully beat it, and then they'll have to switch to the counter, and the game of Overwatch becomes what it was supposed to be, a game of countering and skill, not just two teams running the exact same composition. Which brings us to our next problem. There's never enough things that are good in the game to warrant running more than one, potentially two compositions at high level play. This doesn't affect you directly, but like I said, the esports scene does affect you even if you don't pay attention to it. What I'm saying here is that in the recent months, actually since like the beginning of Overwatch, both teams in most pro games will be running very similar or exactly the same strats unless they've discovered something new, in which case they'll be the only one running it until everyone figures out that it's busted, and then both teams are running that new strat. It's been like that forever, so even as balance changes, we just see a set of 6 to 8 heroes that are played, and that's it. And that doesn't seem fun at all. The ideal version of Overwatch would have like 4 or 5 compositions of heroes that all fit into the game in one way or another. One team runs one, so another team runs a different one to counter that, and different maps would feature different heroes as well, not everybody running the same thing. The counter to dive comp right now is literally dive comp. Is that fun to you? It's not fun to me, and while it doesn't matter actually in my level of play, in most people's level of play, even in Grandmaster, you don't need to run dive comp. You can play Hanzo and other heroes, Widowmaker at Grandmaster if you're good enough, and it can work. In the pro scene though, that's not the case. If you're not running dive comp, you are screwed because you will probably lose. And even though I say, you know, it doesn't matter too much in our ranks, still a lot of people like to play the meta. I've gotten yelled at before for not playing the meta, and while that's a whole nother problem entirely, like toxicity and whatever, it's still not fun to be able to be forced into one meta. I don't want to just know these 6 heroes and how to play them together. I want to be able to run what I want, you know, Hanzo, Widowmaker, McCree even, but it's very hard to do when one team wants to run the meta, and if the enemy team is running a meta comp, you're kind of screwed if you don't. So what's the solution? Well, really quick, I just want to say, I personally enjoy Overwatch right now. I have fun with the game. It's very fun to me. So these complaints aren't actually my own. I'm actually addressing community complaints. So if you say I'm a whiner or I'm doing this for views or something, that honestly is not the case. If I was doing this for views, I'd stretch it to 10 minutes. But the solution we're going to talk about actually may affect you even if you aren't bothered right now, because the solution involves more heroes, faster balance, and more balance in the game. Step 1, I think, for Blizzard is going to be start making radical changes. They ask us to use the PTR, but they don't do 2 things. 1, they don't listen to PTR feedback, and 2, they don't make changes big enough worth using the PTR. When they make the changes to Roadhog, everyone knew in literally 24 hours that Roadhog was done. So what's the point of staying on PTR any further than that? 24 hours is all it took to say that the new Roadhog sucks. And they didn't even listen to us. So the 2 things I just mentioned both happened with Roadhog. Everyone said he was too weak. They didn't change it. In 24 hours, we all knew it, so people stopped playing it. It was that quick. It was that simple. If Blizzard had made bigger changes and more impactful changes, and also listened to us on the feedback, they could have put out a giant change to the game in only 1 patch. It could have been a whole new Overwatch we were playing with different heroes, more heroes potentially, and a lot more variety of compositions. That wasn't a real sentence. You know what I'm saying though. The next change they need to make is seriously more heroes, and that's gonna be exactly the same as the whole patch situation. If a hero is busted on release, they go to PTR first anyway, so just change them there. Once the hero's design has been laid out, then you can work on balance with us. I feel like they test the hero in their own private testing far too much. Honestly, way too much. Because Blizzard's internal private testing of a hero doesn't mean jack. It doesn't mean jack. They aren't playing at the highest level. They're probably playing at a medium level. And a hero that's balanced in gold isn't guaranteed to be balanced in bronze or diamond and above. So Blizzard's internal testing, I think they can just cut back or out entirely and just give us the hero on PTR already. If they did this, they could also set the PTR, you know, patch time to 1 month. In 1 month, you could make potentially 5 or 6 changes to a hero. And with a new hero on the PTR that hasn't been balanced, there's guaranteed to be a lot of people playing it and testing it, and you can look at the statistics, the community feedback and everything, and make a more balanced hero probably quicker than you do now. Definitely quicker than you do now. So I think that should be definitely done. And remember, if they ruin a hero really bad and it somehow makes it to live, which it won't if they, you know, listen to all this feedback, if they do ruin a hero and make it to live, with more heroes in the game, the pro scene would be able to ban out heroes and say, you know what, we all agree that this hero isn't fair. So let's just make it so both teams can't play them. And it doesn't affect the play of them at all. Or you could even ban them from competitive play, Blizzard. You yourselves could say, you're right, this hero is stupidly powerful. We're going to ban them from competitive play, and you can only use them in quick play until they're actually fixed. That would be a potential solution. Regardless, tell me what you guys think. I think these changes would be great for the game, even though I find the game perfect right now, and I think you guys will too. So I'll see you guys all later. Have a good one. Lone Hawk out.